I'd like to call the meeting of the Fairport Industrial Development Agency Board of Directors to order. We have in attendance today Donna Stefano, Rob Gentner, Jennifer Townsend, and by phone, Kevin Clark.
Sharon here. We got room.
Thanks for joining.
Okay. Is there any seeing no one in attendance for public comment? We'll move on to approval of the minutes. December 16th.
I move to approve the minutes. I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 We'll move next. We'll take a look at our financial reports. Looking at Resolution 2025-01, bills for the IDA.
I reviewed the bills and I would move to approve.
I will second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 We've got the cash and investment reports. John, is there anything you want to share?
No major changes with investments, except that we did have ACD that matured, and we had another with other agencies, CDs maturing between the 16th and the 27th. And the approach that we're taking is to roll those into a short-term investment with the highest interest rate. Seems like the highest interest rates right now are at 30 days and 60 days. That will accomplish two things: maximize those investments in the short term, but also just give me a little time to come up to speed on the approach from an investment perspective and understand what our cash flow needs will be for the rest of the year, so we can plan out or stagger those so we have cash to meet what those investment needs are. But again, right now, anything that is maturing in the next 30 days, we're going to renew for the shortest term, highest interest rate between 30 days and 60 days.
Makes sense.
What was the rate, or what was the time frame on it?
30 days.
It was at 30 already, or what?
I don't know what it was, how long that was. I think it was maybe a 90-day.
Okay.
Most of them are in relatively short-term instruments because of the trend in investment or interest rates. So they are coming down, and the highest rates are in the shortest term.
All right. Let's jump to new business so we can formally bring it out. We've welcomed Jonna McCooey. We introduced her at the last meeting in December, but now she's here on staff, settling in, getting to know the ways. Crushing it, exactly. So, should we formally appoint her?
Sure.
So move, anyone?
Move appointment of Jenna McCooey.
Second.
Who seconded?
Any discussion?
We're thrilled to have you on board.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here, and it's important for Tompkins Bank in particular, and our Paris reporting that these minutes reflect that I am appointed as executive director for the IDA, and will do the same for the other agencies.
Okay, that's great.
I suggest we amend it effective January 13th.
We'll amend that motion to reflect her start date of January 13th, 2025.
All right.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 you want to share any updates on your IDA work thus far?
Sure. So for all of OCED, I'll just give this one general update and then get specific to the IDA. Onboarding has gone very smoothly, and I'm very grateful for this team, to Martha, to Jennifer, for all of the planning and forethought into making sure that I was able to hit the ground running here. From a systems perspective, we have all systems in place: Portfolio, eCode, QuickBooks user access. I have access to the agency network drives, and all of Martha's old documents. So IT went as smoothly as IT can go. Again, Jennifer was a great help with that. So thank you very much for all of your help with my onboarding, Jennifer. I've been really working on making connections with as many folks as I can, but the first couple of weeks has been focused on those connections important to continue our regular business operation. So I've connected with our banks. Martha did have the ability to add me to the CNB accounts before she left, and those are the ones we use most. So the other two, we still are in the process with updating accounts and updating signature cards. But I have connected with the representatives from those banks, and they are working with me to manage any transactional needs that we have in the meantime. I had a good meeting with Ed to talk about our general program operations and our board operations. And I'm happy that I have Ed here as a resource, like everyone said he would be, but that has been really great. I was able to, before I started, attend the strategic planning session for the partnership, and that was great to connect with local leadership across different organizations and make those connections before coming on board. I've had a really great warm welcome from the village team, leadership here. I've made some good connections here in this building, and I'm excited to start building on the already strong foundation that we have here in the village of Fairport to help meet those needs. I have met with Pat Rapp and Gina Luke, so from the outside consulting support, I've made those connections. And again, everything's been going as smoothly as possible. My go forward focus in particular for the IDA, if I think about what do I really want to dig into for the next 90 days, really understanding the village comprehensive plan and how we can best align our business attraction efforts to what those strategic goals are. Focusing on some of our key projects like Bonnie and Clyde happening soon. I understand Iron Smoke is perhaps, they recently got their approval for their subdivision. So working with those existing clients to help support their projects, but also for the IDA, for my own knowledge, really having a good understanding of what is the overall inventory to attract businesses to the village of Fairport. Right. What's for lease? What's for sale? What are those vacant spaces? And how can we find businesses that are the highest and best use for those and that are in line with the overall strategic plan? So that's my update for the IDA.
Cool.
Excellent. Great.
What would be helpful? Is there anything you've identified that you want to talk through here?
Everyone has been very, very supportive and open with information and resources. I think I need to maybe have a little more time to be able to answer that question.
Sure.
I don't know what I don't know yet. But I know that I'm working with all of you to have more one-on-one conversations and folks on the village team as well. So I think that's really what's going to help me. Every time I connect with someone more directly, I get more information and a better understanding of the big picture.
Sounds good.
Excellent.
I just want to add a comment because I
Sure.
know this is like getting a fire hose.
Yeah.
But something that may be useful as you consider how you work together with us in the village is there was a zoning code. It was structured around the Main Street corridor and business corridor that was held on the 22nd last Wednesday, and I know Jill has a tape of it, and we talk a lot about standards for businesses. We get into this idea that community members are like, how do we keep chains out of the village and business chains? And I think there's some really good discussion in there that might be helpful when we think about what we want our downtown corridor to look like, which is also a factor in the types of businesses or the business community as well as housing. Many people in our community have a very difficult time understanding why somebody would live above a business, and you have to keep pulling out examples from the community and say, well, what do you think of this building? The top 3 floors of this building are housing, or what do you think of this other building? And they need to have this continual reassurance that we're really not making dramatic changes. But there are many things that have gone on in this village over, say, the last 10 years that people continually comment about. I don't like that. Well, if you don't like it, then tell us you don't like that because it was built on the current zoning code. So just as an overview of where we're thinking about heading with our zoning code, and it does really link intricately with the mission that you're trying to advance with regard to housing and bringing businesses into the community.
Great. I think absolutely I want to understand the code, in particular for the Main Street Business District. I have a meeting scheduled with Jill for later in this week as a starting point to get the lowdown on that.
I'm just saying, once things settle down a little bit, if you make a note, here's some other place that I can go and see feedback from the village board.
Great.
And it might help clarify some of it. Sometimes the meetings that we're doing on zoning are really a lot of, let's take this down to the lowest level, because there's a lot of miscommunication that happens. Again, like I said, people are like, how would anybody want to live above a business? Or, well, if there's somebody living above a business, then obviously there's not enough parking. You're going to need to leave on-street parking available full year. So I'll end it there.
Great, thank you. Thanks for sharing that. We'll definitely check it out.
All right. Thank you, Jonna. Thanks, Mayor.
Sure.
Should we go back? Did we, let's, I don't think we addressed old business. Any old business we need to address? Okay. All right. We will be suspending this meeting, moving on to the LDC next. But at the end of our overall meeting, we'll join back into the IDA to do some executive session.
Okay.
Discuss.
Yep.
The IDA portion, if I could just add, there was a recent change to the general municipal law in relation to providing financial assistance. So basically the recommendation is going to be based on this change in the law is to amend the application that you submit, that you send out to applicants in relation to receiving IDA benefits. The state has requested that all IDAs, when considering a project, basically determine whether or not the project is going to be providing any on-site daycare facilities.
Oh, interesting.
And so the idea is if they have on-site daycare facilities, that they should score higher in the evaluation for providing financial benefits. So,
is that something we should add to remember last year when we created that the scoring chart for key, I mean, if a daycare center, if daycare on site in our businesses is part of our primary goal, remember he set those parameters. Interesting.
Yep.
Yeah, that is really interesting.
So I'll provide and I'll take a look and see where else we could add it. So
cool.
I just want to
That's
give you
good
that update that we'll be probably providing a simplified revised application for this board to consider.
But the scoring thing doesn't mean it's not a negative if they're not. Like,
Correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
It's more of a pot, so.
Interesting.
And Ed, you're going to say something out on us to that?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, thanks.
Excellent.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks.
So, can I have a
Thanks.
motion to suspend this meeting until the end?
I'll move to suspend. I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Let's move to the Fairport, the local development company, corporation, excuse me. LDC.
You can untap that, right?
No, they're all live now. Yep.
All right, I'd like to call to order the January 27th, 2025 meeting of the Fairport Local Development Corporation. First off, is there any public comment? All right. Let's move to the minutes, called, looking for a motion to approve the December 16th, 2024 minutes.
I would note that the date has the 18th, but other than the date switch, I would move to approve as amended.
Second as amended?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. We move on to the financial reports.
I reviewed the bills and everything looks good. I will just make note on the resolution. There is, the first two bills on the resolution, check numbers 1583 and 1584 were approved in the December 2024 meeting.
Okay.
So all other bills are accounted for and look good. So I would move to pay.
All right, so moving to approve payment of the 2025-01 authorization of the bills.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Jana, is there anything you'd like to share with regards to investments and financial statements?
The only thing to highlight is similar to the IDA. We had a maturing CD that matured today. We will take the same approach. That's with Lions Bank, and they have higher rates for their 60-day CDs. So we moved that into a 60-day with the same intention, some time to evaluate what our cash needs might be.
Looking at the loan report.
Can I recommend we go into, we have a couple of bills that probably need discussion outside of public session.
Okay,
Maybe include those in our executive session.
all right. What he said. The facade grant program.
So we do have a submission for reimbursement from Sebastian Curatolo. His grant was approved in April, but he has just finished the work. He submitted all his receipts. I'm gonna share, if you could pass that around, a summary document. His costs came in a little bit different than his initial approved amount by line item. What you're seeing here is the difference of what we approved versus what he submitted. The approval letter says directly that we won't approve any overage, but I just want to share with this board where he ended up. He did submit a request for the higher amount. I would defer to whatever is the standard process for making any exception here. But depending on the decision, I would recommend we pay at the original grant amount at a minimum. And if there is reason to consider altering that, then this board can decide that at this time. I would say that an important component of this project includes an ADA accessible automatic door.
That the grant provides 90% of.
The grant provides 90% of that, and the cost for that did come in higher, as did some items, but that is what is showing like the biggest increase in or difference between what was requested or originally approved and what's been requested.
Without seeing that documentation, just as a
Oh,
percentage,
there.
a rough percentage of what the cost increase was, is cost increase.
It was up about $150.
Yeah, they're copies, yeah.
It's pretty minor.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like the quotes just came in higher, things changed.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I would, given that the ADA doors were a priority for this program, you know, I would be willing to pay the additional 90% of that higher cost. But the other expenses that were in there, the signage, the painting and that sort of stuff, we don't really have I mean, the quote for his painting, the steel ladder and permit was, we weren't gonna fund that, never mind. But some of them came in lower and some of them came in higher, and we don't know why. But I'd be willing to pay more. I'd be willing to up and make sure we're paying 90% of the door, but the rest of them I think are just the cost of, you know, who knows what changes he made or whatever. I don't know. How does everyone else feel on that?
So total project cost only increased by $150.
No, the door, the original project proposal, which included the ladder, was $16,900, and we weren't going to cover the cost of that fire ladder. Remember, the steel ladder he wanted, and his actual costs are $13,200. Our grant approval was $4,776, and now he's requesting $5,096. So it's up about $300.
Yeah,
a little over $320.
Yeah.
The increase in the door is going from $3,555 to $3,697, so up $150. The other ones are up $100, up another $200 each, or combined.
Again, without benefit of seeing that, I like Jonna's proposal that we approve per our grant, and then take a look at, because kind of selfishly, I'd like to take a look at the stuff that unfortunately I don't have in front of me. And we can talk about that. I mean, it sounds kind of minimal, but you know, again, it says in that, you know, our letter says we're not responsible for cost increases. So
I guess we don't know if any of the other grantees, if it didn't come at, you know, if others saw their costs go up, and it just wasn't a matter of discussion.
Right.
Exactly.
I agree with that in the sense where here it's minimal. It feels like easy enough to just say sure, but does it set a precedence for us having to then navigate other folks coming through? I don't know. I'd agree with Kevin on that. And John.
Do we need to vote on that, or we just sticking to our? We don't need to vote.
No,
Okay.
Nope.
Okay, so we'll pay out at the approved amount.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
All right. Moving on to old business. There's an update on our Paris reporting.
Yeah, so just a brief update. When we submitted our Paris reporting for the IDA, the audit report and the management letter, both we inadvertently submitted the documents for the LDC. I'm sorry, other way around. For the LDC, the meeting what we're talking about now, we submitted the IDA documents, and that leaves the LDC in an uncertified status for the annual report. So we have to resubmit those. Just today, I got approval through the Paris reporting system for those. So I should be able to submit those by the end of this week, and then we should be in approved and certified status.
Got it. Moving to new business, let's start with the appointment of our executive director. Pleased to introduce Jonna McCooey again this month. We appointed her. I'd like to move appointment of Jonna to serve as the executive director for the Local Development Corporation effective January 13th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Jonna, would you like to share an onboarding update?
So overall onboarding for OCED has been going really well. The things that I would say specifically for the LDC and my focus for these next 90 days will be to do a deep dive into the lending process. I can tell this is a very active group of agencies. Small programs or large programs, people are engaging in them regularly. So that's an area where I want to be prepared for that next loan request, and I will be reaching out to you perhaps in guidance there. I think this is where this fits, but the village is 2 big projects happening this year, the bridge project and the facade improvements. We have a plan to help support on the communication and partnering with the Merchants Association, but would love to understand more how those projects are going to, what are, the plans and how can we best support the village and the merchants here in those things coming up. Also, in my talks with Brian White, village manager, want to spend more time in understanding how we can collaborate in supporting the town's programs and activation of public spaces and goals around that. And then I know that the sign and facade improvement grant for the LDC closed. I'm not 100% sure on the future of that program, but there remains interest. So I just want to put that out there as a future discussion with this board and to get a better understanding of what is the future intention there. There seems to be some ongoing interest. So that's my update for the LDC.
I have a couple things on that. John, on the loan portfolio, if you haven't done this already, I would suggest that sometime in the near term you acquaint yourself with the individuals we have loaned to and meet them. So when you do make a phone call, you can, they can put face in the means and that. Second, the facade improvement in particular program is something we want to talk about as a board. That we may want to tailor and make it a little different than we've done in the past to work in concert with the Main Streets reconstruction project, because that may spur some owners to think a little differently than they had before. So that's something that for future reference the board may want to get into a little.
Great, thanks, Kevin.
I think just in general, some past discussions, if I'm remembering correctly, about the facade grant was that we felt that demand was diminishing at some point. I think there was a lot of needing to chase after and explain things to those that were interested, and then finding out for one reason or another that they weren't quite qualified. So I think there was a little bit of, well, we think we may have dried up the pool and there's nothing left. I also think that we did talk in our last not governance meeting, our planning meeting, the board planning meeting, about like, okay, what's the next thing we want to do? Like we had when the main bridge was closed, we had a bridge grant, then we had some funds for COVID, and then we had the facade grants. And there was we expressed a desire to kind of relook at like what would be the type of grants that would be demanded by businesses. So I think this is a great point at where you're coming on and talking to the Main Street business owners to find out what kind of support might be interesting at this time, given the two projects you mentioned and the other developments.
We can build the program ourselves. It's our
Yeah.
choice.
Mhm.
And, look to you for what you're hearing, what guidance you want to offer, and we'll make it work.
Great.
And we have a hardy group of business owners and property owners who readily participate in our programs, and sometimes we do a little, urging and nudging and, with success or not, to others.
Great. I appreciate that. The timing sounds like it's right to explore how we can best position our programs to meet the needs of the village and the merchants here in the village, and support those new merchants moving in and those growing their businesses. So I think that we will perhaps offline find some time to talk more about, the ideas that have already been shared and reviewed, and then develop the right program going forward.
Gotcha. Moving on in new business, we have a request from the Fairport Foundation for support for the 2025 New York Fiber Trail. This is something we've supported in the past. They're asking for $500, and the funds will support, bringing in the people who are in the fiber arts and trades to our community. And we've got an extensive package here, an outline of the project. It's the knitting, crocheting, spinning, and fiber farming community.
Which is apparently a big
thing.
Well, we do
Right.
have
Here in town.
And,
Right,
and
right.
we have, I guess, a renowned yarn store
Yep. the yarn
people
store.
come to.
Right.
Yes.
I'm a knitter, so I appreciate
Oh,
all
that's
this.
right.
So
Okay,
yeah,
so we have the
I learned how
person
to crochet as well. I shouldn't do that more. Would you like to go on your fiber trail?
It's cute.
So-
Oh, look at that. Oh,
So-
that's really nice work.
I'll
there.
move approval of the application. We supported it in the past. I think it's worthy.
It is a budgeted item, I'll point out.
Are these for us to take?
They
one or
are,
just
yes,
okay.
they are for you to
Wow.
take and pass around and support.
Sorry.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And the fiber trail passes. Let's go.
Hey, did we go through our loans? Did we talk about our loans?
We're gonna discuss those in executive session later.
Okay.
There we go.
Thank
Got
you.
it.
I was doing the same thing.
All right.
Yep.
Sorry, I was like, what?
All right, let's see, we're gonna suspend this meeting as we did the, IDA for executive session discussion at the end of the meeting. Okay. Motion to suspend,
I'll move to suspend.
Second.
any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right. Let's move on to the Fairport Urban Renewal Agency. I'll call the meeting to order.
And just so to clear, I just wanted to check because we were suspending whether or not we had to continue on the live stream, but I confirm we can turn it off. So,
Got it.
and we'll just have to turn it back on for the IDA session.
Even though we're gonna be in executive session.
We have to open it to go into executive session
And
and
then-
then close it and then open it up again. I wanted to make sure I got all the process right.
Got it.
I didn't want to make sure that we cut it off and find out we did it wrong. So
Okay.
err on the side of more disclosures than less.
Thank you.
So we should end this live stream?
Correct. Yep.
We end it
For
for
the
urban
URA.
renewal.
Yeah. The LDC and URA are not obligated to. The IDA is, but I wanted to make sure that if you suspend an IDA meeting, whether or not you have to continue on with the live stream.
Oh, okay.
So
Right,
that was
okay.
that was the concern I had.
Okay. But
So I
see.
wanted to